coaches, athletes, and sports fans. Coach Michael Fields back. It's been a little while. Ready to get after it today. Looking at the 4-3. Some folks would call this a 4-3 over because of the alignment of our alignment towards the strength of the offense. This defense is based on, partially on this book here. This book was published over 20 years ago. Football's Modern 4-3 Defense, Bob Koenig. So this book right here is a little bit what we're based on. If you really think back to the late 80s, Jimmy Johnson at Miami, the Chicago Bears, Monsters of the Midway, it's pretty much, it's kind of derived from that same era of defense, and again with that book. So getting into it today, we're just going to do the overview. We got the 4-3 base alignment. So this defense utilizes 4 down linemen. So our ends and our 2 outside defensive ends, they're going to be in a 3-point stance, as well as our interior, our nose, and our tackle. We call strength to the tight end side. We almost always set to the tight end. If there is no tight end, we would go to the multiple receiver side. If it's a balanced set and no tight end, or a 2 tight end set, and it's balanced, we're pretty much an ace type formation that we're seeing. We're going to go to the wide side of the field. If we're in the middle of the field, we just rely on the Mike backer to make a call and go with it. Typically we call strong left because most offense would run to the right, generally speaking. So again, our Mike makes the call. We put our will to the strong side because we consider our Sam as a better pass guy, so we want him on the backside. That's just the way we run it. You could flip it and put your Sam to the strong, Will to the weak. That's how a lot of guys run it. We just happen to do it a little bit different. So our tackle, Will, and strong safety always travel together to the strength. Our nose, Sam, and free always travel to the weak side. Corners, ends do not flip. We have a right end, a right corner, left end, left corner, and they stay to the left and to the right as their alignment is. So, see if I got all that covered there. Yeah. And again, Mike, the Mike backer here, he makes the call to the strength. And generally for us, if our Mike would happen to go down, usually our Will slides in. We have a backup Will. Sometimes we have a backup Mike. So that's our Will is kind of our next Mike backer a lot of times, not always. Okay, so base alignment, starting with the front 4 here. Our end on the tight end side, we call him a 9 technique. He's going to go outside shoulder of the tight end. End on the opposite side, if there's no tight end, he's going to go what we call a 5. He's going to be outside of the offensive tackle. So these guys do have to be pretty big, pretty strong, pretty athletic, because they're contained guys, but they're also going up against potentially 300-pound offensive tackles, 250 to 300-pound OTs. So our DN's got to be strong. We're not going to put a little dude there unless he's just really in the weight room hitting it hard, Our interior guys, our defensive tackle is going to be primarily a B-gap player to the strong side. So he's going to play that kind of off the shoulder of the offensive guard. He's not going to line truly in the gap. We want him on kind of an outside shade to that offensive guard. And we call our nose to be in a minus. He's not fully in the A gap, and he's not outside shade as much as our tackle to the weak side. He's going to be more his eye to the center's eye into that gap, where this is more of a shoulder to shoulder, maybe ear hole. So just slightly a wider alignment into the B gap than we are in the A gap with our nose. Okay, so single gap responsibility. The nose predominantly A gap, tackle predominantly B gap, D gap contain with our end. This side we would call it C gap contain with our end. Will is going to be C gap here, Mike A, and our Sam backer B gap on the back side. Our Mike and Will, our backers I should say, they do have to fill and spill. So if they're spilling, they may slide and have a second gap. But predominantly, this 4-3 is a single gap responsibility. Makes it a little bit easier on these front 7. Base alignment, corners are going to go outside shade, outside by about 1 Not a true yard. He's really just kind of going to put his inside of his shoulder to the outside of that number one receiver on his side. And he's probably 4, maybe 6 yards off the ball, depending on what we're calling coverage wise. To teach it base alignment, we go 1x4, outside shade. We're going to go kind of tight end to just wider than tight end, 10 to 12 with our strong. Same thing over here with the free. We would go where a tight end would be, 10 to 12, and we might outside shade as well because it is a cover 2 base, so they are deep half, so that puts them in their deep half pretty quickly. They're kind of starting in that kind of, if we were to draw the quadrant here, right, of a deep half, he's starting in that kind of low middle quadrant, moving his way back and out if we see pass. Okay, so that's just kind of base alignment technique. A gap, run first for all 7 of these guys here, right? A gap, strong A. Key for our lineman, DN, he's going to read the tackle's hip, see if he's pass or run. And so he's going to be looking for that down block for a run to squeeze. If he sees pass, he's going to get on his outside contained pass rush. Nose tackle, A gap, run or pass. If he sees pass, he's going to rush interior. And he's reading the center's hip. Tackle, he's going to read the guard's hip. Same thing, interior pass rush, stay in his lane. We want him to stay as straight as possible so the quarterback doesn't get a free running lane here. And then our defensive end on the tight end side is going to read the tight end for run or pass as well. If he sees blocked down, he's going to play run. If he sees him either release or set up to pass, he's going to outside rush with contain and pass as well. Our backers are going to key the running backs. We don't key guards. We will see them, but we don't key them. Kind of important there. We all watch the ball, obviously, at the snap, and then we run step first with all of our backers. So we're going to run step, or read step, I should say. And then if we have to drop, we will. On run, we have A, spill to outside, C, spill to outside, B, spill to outside, or turn it, right? Basic, we're going to squat with our corners because they're going to have flats in cover 2 in our base alignment. And we're going to pedal with these guys at the snap. They're just kind of a pass read, 1 to 2 steps back. Then if they see run, they come up and run support. So that's our base coverage. If we do get pass, again, our corners have flats. We have deep halves here. We're going to go hook to curl. So we want depth and then width with our Will and our Sam. Our Mike's going to go low hole or hook, and then he's going to drop to the deep hole if we're seeing vertical routes. If we're seeing shallow routes, obviously we're going to keep everything under, and that's our base thing, base techniques, base responsibilities there. And our 4-3 kind of over, so the alignments, single gap, our run responsibilities, and our pass coverage if we read pass. Thank you for watching. This is Coach Michael Fields. You can find me on, email me, coachmichaelfields@gmail.com. I've got Instagram, it's Coach Michael Fields, or Twitter. Did put a new handle up at Coach Michael F. So Twitter wouldn't give me enough room to put the full name, so Coach Michael F on Twitter. We'll see you guys in the next episode.